Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Welcome everybody back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle channel. Yes, I've made 2 episodes in a row. It's unheard of. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and I'm joined by my illustrious co-host, good friend and tag team partner on this cold, damp, dreary Wednesday morning, Mr. Adam Cousins. Adam, how are you, sir?
Yeah, cold, damp and dreary. You kind of put the nail on the head.
I know you can tell I've taken some time off work. It's been lovely while I've been at work, and now it's just pissing down with rain. Hey, let's talk some WWE, my friend. Let's have a little SmackDown catch up. We can talk about this week's Monday Night Raw. Has The Rock joined the Bloodline? If you believe that, you will believe absolutely anything. The internet has been rife since Friday, Adam, since The Rock went full heel on SmackDown this past Friday. I absolutely loved it. It was like 2002, 2003 again, Hollywood Rock. And even before that, back in the late 90s when he turned a bit heel, I absolutely loved it. He bought the Sunday Night Heat shirt back that he wore when he done but my name's Bob, it doesn't matter. He had bought that shirt. He bought that shirt back. How have you found the WWE in the last few days, mate? Since SmackDown and Raw, we're going to break it all down. Has The Rock joined the Bloodline? Was he really talking to Cody, in your opinion? Because I don't think he was. I think this is long-term storytelling and booking at its best, mate. What do you reckon?
Yeah, certainly was talking to Roman. I think that's the key point, and it's been mentioned many times now. He pointed at Roman when he said he's going to make sure that he walks out the loser, even though he was talking to Cody. But we know it's looking like the other way. Like he's pointing at Roman. Yeah, good. I thought Raw was strong. It's got some quite sort of indifferent reviews, but interestingly enough. But I thought Raw was a strong Raw. It was a good 3 hours again. Didn't fast forward any of it, which was always, I always say that's the basis of a good show.
Even the Nia Jackson, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, but it was
Easy, you done well to get through that. That was the longest 2 minutes of my life.
It was Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you got to look at Rhea Ripley. But yeah, no, I'm with you, mate. I mean, I think WWE are playing one thing which we will get into in a little bit. Did we see the first UFC WWE crossover on Raw? I know you'll have some opinions on that. Is that really a UFC call out? Is that something we could see at Mania? Bear in mind, Mania is 2 nights. They need to figure something out. We'll get into that. But yeah, I thought Raw was okay. I mean, it was good that it opened up with Cody and Drew. I like that. You can kind of see now where they're going again with the whole bloodline interfering in Cody business. I think that's pretty much going to be it all the way up until Mania. Does that tell you that they're going to try and portray that it's going to be similar to last year, but Cody is actually going to win? Because last year I was pretty adamant that, I wasn't quite sure how it was going to go. And then by we got to the end of the match, I was thinking, shit, Cody's actually going to win this. And he is going to, Roman's going to lose his title for the first time in what was then 2 years. Now I'm kind of torn because I'm in the minority, probably. I know you're kind of in the same camp. I want to see Roman break Hogan's record just purely because I don't think we'll see anything like that again in our lifetimes. While me and you are watching professional wrestling and while we're covering it, I don't think anyone will ever come close enough to even think about doing it. And if you think he's so close now, SummerSlam, it's done. He's the all-time, championship title holder in WWE history. So for me, I personally think they would want to do that. What are you making of what we're seeing with the whole bloodline now getting involved? Obviously, they got involved with the Cody match. They got involved with the main event. Obviously, Jimmy and Jay, looks like we're heading down that road to see them too at Mania. But yeah, it was a solid showing on Raw. But how much bloodline involvement are we going to be seeing now in every single match between now and Mania? What has it got? We've got 9 weeks.
Yeah, quite a few, I would imagine. So yeah, then they kind of prologued it, didn't they? They done the end of WrestleMania for Cody's match against Drew, which Drew came out top. And then there was people then moaning, why is Cody losing? Well, that's the first time he's lost since Roman Reigns. So, and you've got to book your challengers champion strong. It's likely, as we head into Elimination Chamber 2 days' time, that Drew's going to win the men's. So he needs momentum. They've done a lot of the whole, old school finish like they did at WrestleMania. They'll do it again. I think even at WrestleMania they'll do it, but this time Cody will kick out. Either that, or they may introduce a special guest referee, which could be Steve Austin. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there as a potential possibility that could happen. But I'm certain that they will do that ending again, but this time Cody will kick out. But doesn't mean to say he's going to win it, because it could also be that even Jey Uso could cost Cody the match at WrestleMania, and because Cody brought him back to Raw.
True. I mean, do you think that the WWE want Roman to break Hogan's record just because of its? We're not going to get into the shit with Hogan, but he thinks he's been seen once on WWE TV, and that was him and the crowd at the last pay-per-view. Do you think WWE want Roman to break the record?
I don't know actually. Possibly TKO would probably do. I think because they have got that whole thing now, innit?
They've got some interesting situations going on right now. Obviously, we had the. Me and you mentioned it to me off air while we were talking last week that they basically want to erase everything that's associated with Vince McMahon from the history, which includes Paul Levesque, Triple H, and if you again we say this all the time. We're not here to talk about what dirt sheets talk about, but if you're listening to everything that's been going around the internet recently, Triple H could be set to leave WWE for good after WrestleMania. What did you make of that?
Yeah, it's kind of something that's happened since the whole Vince thing come out. TKO would be like, there was talk that they were literally going to pretty much fire anybody that's knew about the situation, and it's obviously come out that Triple H may have known about the situation. Then, funnily enough, The Rock comes on board. I don't think TKO knew the full extent of everything, because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, Paul Roma of Paul Romeo Roma come out yesterday in American news and said he knows of a story that's worse involving Vince McMahon.
What gets worse than naming like sex toys after WWE superstars?
Well, he believes that he knows another story. You also don't forget, and I don't like to talk about it, but you have the whole ring crew situation as well, where there was a ring crew member sexually assaulted, and Pat Patterson was involved, and all of that sort of stuff. I think there is so much stuff that TKO don't know about. They're probably shitting themselves a little bit.
Yeah, maybe not regretting the whole takeover,
No.
but obviously Vince McMahon negotiated this takeover at the start. I mean, no one made himself WWE. You can kind of see why he has done it now, and he literally's got. I don't think he's got any stake in WWE anymore, has he at all? I don't even think we're saying like 1%. I think the rumor was that he was obviously, when it originally happened, that he was going to be selling it to TKO, and he was going to be like a silent partner and have 10% or whatever it was, and just sit there and collecting more money. But from everything that you're led to believe now, is he's literally nothing, zero, zilch to do with WWE. Stephanie McMahon's up there, Shane McMahon's up there. It's, by all intents and purposes, Triple H isn't going to be Paul Levesque isn't going to be there after WrestleMania. Now, is this why The Rock's been brought in? Is this what's happening now? Is this the future? Again, like we mentioned a minute ago, we're going down the more crossover platform. I mean, on Monday Night Raw this week, we had Conor McGregor getting called out for a quote-unquote UFC fight and get back in the octagon. I mean, where were you with that? What did you make of that? I knew you'd have some opinion. I mean, I saw it and I was just like, wow. Everyone, I just jumped on Twitter and everyone was just like, that's happening at Mania. That ain't happening in the UFC.
Could be. It doesn't. Nothing surprises me anymore. I was kind of waiting for it. I'm surprised it took longer than it did to happen. I don't want to see it at WrestleMania. I really, and I don't want it, because if they do, it'll be some wrestling involvement, and rather see that at UFC. But I'm waiting for something like a UFC thing to happen, and someone starts, like WWE guys start brawling in the crowd or something over in the UFC, to see if that happens.
Like a WWE versus UFC kind of thing.
No, maybe like McIntyre's there, and all of a sudden Cody Rhodes jumps out and starts beating him up.
The only problem you got, imagine the backlash from the actual UFC, because I know a lot of UFC fans who hate WWE and hate wrestling, and they're like, they get why I like it because it's entertainment, but they're very much keep that separate. They're like, this is the UFC. This is like, they call it, I'm doing my air quotes again, they call it real. And we get wrestling's entertainment, and we get that it's scripted. They generally hate professional wrestling. I get it. You know what I mean? UFC is brutal. I mean, I don't think it's as brutal as it was when it very, very first started. I don't know how that would go down with the UFC fans, but there's probably a lot of crossover. I know a lot of people that like UFC and that like WWE, so it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it. I mean, I don't know. It's bound to happen though. TKO, fucking, they own both, so it's going to happen eventually, mate.
Yeah, it probably will. And so getting used to that sort of stuff now, unfortunately, it happens. But that's what we got to look. That's what we got to look forward to.
Did we see too much R-Truth this week on Raw? I'm. It was funny again, but I know we had the R-Truth, the Miz, and DIY versus the Judgment Day. Judgment Day picking up the win.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, finally. Exactly. We said last week. I don't know what the hell's happened with the Judgment Day. I don't know what's going on here. They just seem to have completely gone. No, we're not doing this anymore. WWE have just gone. No, not doing it anymore. I can see them dropping the tag. I think that'll be one title that changes at Mania. Will be the tag team titles. It won't happen at Elimination Chamber. I feel sorry for the Australians this week, by the way.
In short end of the stick.
Oh, mate, what a load. Don't get me wrong. I know we've said this in the past about Backlash and certain pay-per-views and God, but this one really does look bad.
Yeah, it's
Really
not the best. But then we've said that before, haven't we? And it's delivered. So it is what it is. They've definitely got the short end of the stick, although I think the most thing I'm interested in is what's Cody and Seth going to say on the Grace Waller show?
Is The Rock and Roman going to be there? Do we know if they've travelled? I mean, yeah, I think it's just going to be filler. The Grace.
It sounds a bit no, because Roman done this interview with Paul Heyman. I don't know if it's been aired, but I'm sure I saw it on X where he said, "Am I going to Australia?" And Paul Heyman said, "No, we're not." And you know, so I don't know. But Cody and the Seth thing is really the only thing I'm interested in at the minute. The rest, you kind of predictable. Becky wins the women's, Drew wins the men's.
Yeah, I can't see anyone else. Yeah, I mean, the women had the little thing with Nia Jax standing over everyone this past week on Raw, and it was a bit. Again, it comes back to what we said last week when we sat down and talked. We had our little WWE catch up. I think I'm so invested in the whole Roman Reigns, Cody, Rock thing that every other stuff. I've never been like this with wrestling. Don't get me wrong, you pay attention because we watch wrestling and we like professional wrestling, but I just don't care. I'm not even going to lie to you, mate. I watch it and I'm like, I couldn't care less who Seth's taken on at the minute, or I couldn't really care who's winning the women's elimination chamber. Easy for me to say. And I'm like listening, and I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts, and a lot of fans are just like everything that we're talking about. I listened to Wrestling Uncensored this week with Dave and Johnny North, and you know, a lot of what people are talking about is literally just Bloodline, Roman, Cody, Rock. Done. Everything else is kind of like you're kind of like looking over there. You're like, oh yeah, that's still going on. You know, but like you say, they've dropped the ball such heavily with the Judgment Day. This whole the Money in the Bank. It seems we've kind of forgot that. I mean, they could go completely 180 and we get a cash in at, like me and you said last week, at Mania. Do we get a failed cash in at the Chamber just to give Australia something? But there's no one there for him to cash it in on.
Well, Seth's there, but
does he cash it? Does he cash it in on Seth?
He's not allowed to, is he? He's injured. That's what he's got.
They do the quote unquote cashing, and it's some Cody helps Seth keep the title at the Chamber. They cash in. Cody's there to help Seth, and then it's the whole I've got your back, you've got my back. Oh, we love you, mate. We love each other. And they did on Raw when Cody was sitting backstage after he got the spike and Seth was there. I mean, is that a little breadcrumb to the Australians, the poor bastards, this weekend? When they give them that, they get a failed cash in, and then WWE like, okay, they've done the whole Money in the Bank thing. We've done it. It's a bit like when Otis won it. They didn't have a clue how to do that, did they? You know what I mean?
Waste of time.
I think that's WWE is so like focused over there. They've not kind of forgot what's going on. Like you've got the whole IC title thing now, and you had a really good main event on Raw. Be it, you know, Jimmy and Jay got into it at the end, and Gunther's still the champion, and Gunther probably realistically is going to be the champion after WrestleMania. I think WWE are solely focused on getting to Mania and past Mania that everything else is just kind of like it's filler, if that makes sense.
Could well be, mate. It could well be, yeah. Jay and Gunther match. Did you see the Pat McAfee bit?
And he stopped. Yeah. Don't tell me they're setting Pat McAfee and Gunther up for a match.
No.
McAfee's going to do something at Mania, I would say.
He's normally around, isn't he?
Yeah. Don't tell me they're going to go down Gunther.
No, he won't.
Is he going to go Jay and Jimmy? I think that's pretty much going to be set. You obviously know the main events. Seth's going to get Drew.
Yeah.
What's Gunther going to do?
Oh, but I don't know. There's potentially talk because Sami Zayn keeps going on about championships, doesn't he?
Mm.
There's potentially that. I really don't know. That's the thing. It's one of those
Again,
weird.
is this another storyline that suffered because of the whole
Well, yeah, Brock,
with
wasn't it? He was going
yeah.
to get Brock, wasn't he?
Yeah, is this the whole thing that suffered because of what's gone on with Brock and what's going on with the bloodline now? And everyone's so, like I just said a minute ago, we're so focused and invested on this. Is this another one where they've kind of gone, oh shit, Brock Lesnar's not here now because of various reasons, and for right or wrong, he's not here and probably won't ever be again. Never say
Yeah.
never in wrestling.
Yeah.
Bret Hart come back for God's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, is this another thing? Is this another story where WWE have kind of gone, we don't know what to do?
The only thing I can suggest is that they could bring a new, like if they've got a new signing in or somebody like that. I don't know.
Braun Breaker.
Yeah, there's one. He's on SmackDown though, isn't he?
Yeah, but
SmackDown's newest
I'm just
recruit.
thinking Mania,
Fucking mad, does it?
yeah, exactly. I know he's got signed to SmackDown last Friday, but I'm just thinking, I don't know where Gunther's again. This is another one for me that was so up here and and everyone was like, I love watching his matches. We
Yeah.
talked about him every pay-per-view. He never had a bad match. Chad Gable, he went through that whole thing with Gable for a few
Yeah.
weeks on Raw. Absolute banger. We're like, this is brilliant. I want to see more of
Yeah.
this. Where we are now, 21st of February, as we sit recording this, we're kind of like, not that you don't, I suppose don't care is probably the wrong word, but I'm not as invested in everything else as I normally am with professional wrestling. Well, WWE, shall we say? I don't really watch I watch TNA. That's about it. I don't watch that other lot, but I'm just not as invested in the storylines as I think I should be, and that's probably quite worrying. As if you're WWE going into the build up to WrestleMania, you've got 2 nights to fill. Don't get me wrong. When we get there, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking when we're there, you've got Gunther, you've got the tag team titles. Who knows what's going to happen with them? This time last year, we had Sami Zayn and KO coming back together. We had Sami just got defeated by Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber. Then Cody was off to start telling his story. And we were like, wow, I'm invested in Sami and KO because of tag team titles. I'm invested in Cody. I'm invested in everything else. This year, it seems a bit, I'm invested in one story and one story only.
I think it's because everything's gone up in the air, isn't it? That's the
Mm.
problem now. We can't be invested because we don't even know where they're going or having an idea or we really wanted to see things like I wanted to see Gunther and Brock. I thought that was going to be absolutely amazing to see that. And
Is there a way we still get it at Mania as a surprise? Is there anything that WWE and TKO can do that they, the whole it's I think I've read loads this week. I did actually swat up a little bit more on it this week, and it is quite ridiculous what's going on with Brock. Is this the WrestleMania surprise that we might get Gunther issues an open challenge and Lesnar's music hits at Mania?
yeah, possibly. I mean, Brock hasn't really, in the grander scheme of things, he's not
Guilty by association, really.
Yeah, more than he's. I mean, yes, he said he liked this, and then they were going to set something up, but it didn't happen, did it?
No.
So really, Brock's not to say innocent, as you say, guilty by association more than he's actually physically done something wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel as if that's a possibility still, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe they're throwing everybody off. That said, Brock's not coming back. I know he's been removed off the video game, but again, they can do that because they can easily add the guy on. It's not like a.
He's literally been checked. Like he's not on the website. He's not on anything on their Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Nothing.
It wouldn't take a lot to put him back on, and it could be that they do that. But I don't know. I really don't know. That one is just, and again, it's lowered the interest, doesn't it? As you say, we don't really care now. Like, who's going to do it? What match can they do that's going to make us go with Gunther versus whoever? We're not going to be with no one.
No. What are they? It's kind of like what are they going to do with The Rock now? Is he just going to be? We're all assuming he's just going to come in. I reckon he's just going to come in and rock bottom Roman Reigns, or the referee's going to be down, and he's going to, Cody's going to cover him. Stop Solo from using the spike. That's what's probably going to happen, and then Jimmy and Jay will be back down ringside, and they'll all get into it, and in the end, it'll just be Cody, Rock, Jey Uso, and another in the ring, and raising his hand, and that's presumably how. And then we're off to, like I said last week, then we're off to the races with Rock and Roman, probably for WrestleMania 41. We ain't getting that anytime soon. That's going to be a John Cena Rock kind of year-long build. I think come Survivor Series, you might get a little when they start thinking about Mania again. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed the programming this week. I enjoyed SmackDown. I enjoyed Raw, but I enjoyed SmackDown purely because of the end. It was okay. It was a good enough show. Braun Breaker getting announced on on SmackDown. They had some goodish women's segments. I mean, and if you look at Raw, they had the old Andrade thing, you know,
Really good. I'm not sure about the master.
I don't know
Could
about
he
the
be the one that goes against Gunther?
Could be. Could just throw him into the mix. I don't know, mate. I don't know. But just finishing up, what Elimination Chamber this Saturday.
Yes.
Are you excited at all about it? I know we've been here before, so I'm going to caveat that with I'm not excited, but if it delivers, I won't be surprised. Me and you had this chat about Puerto Rico when WWE went there for Backlash, and we were like, oh my God. And we were texting each other the next day while we were both watching it, going, this is really, really good. So expectations for this weekend, my friend?
Other than the Grayson Waller, no real interest. So we'll just have to see what happens. But they generally deliver on these pay-per-views, don't they? So guess it's a case of wait and see.
Wait and see. It is. It's been a big week for us, my friend. Yes. We announced a partnership with Progress Wrestling.
Yes.
This past week, you went to Rev Pro last weekend.
Yeah, lovely.
So, you met Big Bill, Mr. Ospreay himself. Did you convince him to come on the pod?
Unfortunately, no. He's mumbled though. She runs RCWA.
Oh, fair play. Well, that's another show we've got dropping soon. So you were off to Progress this weekend. Myself and Chris are off to Apex in Milton Keynes to cover that. And then you and I will rendezvous and talk about Elimination Chamber sometime over the weekend.
No Surrender, Elimination Chamber. We've got Heath Slater.
Heath Slater later today. That is being recorded. We sit here on the Wednesday. So keep an eye on the channel. Make sure you go and subscribe on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter at HTT Buckle. You can find us on Instagram. Go and check out the amazing work that Rachel does over there. Find us on Facebook, Hitting the Turnbuckle. You can find us on Threads. I'm sure there's carrier pigeons going around London talking about Hitting the Turnbuckle. You can also find us there. But this has been the Hitting the Turnbuckle. I've been your host, Andy Burrows, with the amazing Adam Cousins. Till next time, everybody, buckle down. Stay safe.